Good afternoon. Hi everybody. Hope everyone's well. It's Tuesday, July 14th. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Got home a little early today. And I want to make a small video on a couple of chairs that I had sanded down and I'm going to stain. That I'm going to bring up to the camp so I can have in the kitchen. But I will show you what I had done to them, what stain I will use, and how I prepared them. Okay, these are the two chairs that I'm refinishing. I had already sanded them down. What I got on top there is a tack cloth. I'm just going to wipe off the excess dust that's on there. I sanded them down pretty well, and I think it's time to stain them. I was kind of contemplating whether to just leave them as is. They have a kind of a nice, really rustic look to them, like a barnwood finish. It kind of looks like. I kind of like it, but I decided that I'm going to stain them. I am going to stain them, and I'll show you a little bit about a little video on me just wiping them down and staining them. I won't show the entire video of me doing them because it just frankly take too long. So I'll show you little bits and parts of it, and then I'll come back to like the finished product. Also at the end of the video, I'll show you what the chairs look like, or at least one of them look like before I sanded them down. They were okay, but I had done one of them, so I said to myself, I might as well just do both. So I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Basically taking this tack cloth you can find in any hardware store. I just happen to get this one over at Home Depot. Pretty good thing to have. Kind of what it looks like. And what I'm doing is just wiping down all the excess dust that's on there. It worked very, very well, by the way. So I'm going to wipe all these down pretty well. Get the area fairly clean. Anyways, so makes a big difference when you're working with a product that's dust free or mostly dust free. Makes the job a lot easier. So I'm trying to get this the best I possibly can. I'll be back in a minute when I stain. I'll show you a little bit of that. Okay, I'm back. I'm going to start staining them. And you'll see what is going to come out like, how it's going to come out. I have the stain already mixed. Mixed it quite a bit already. Tell this was sitting for a while. Pretty thick. What I usually do is when I get socks that get holes in them that really can't use them anymore, I basically wash them, keep them clean, and I put them aside because I could always use them for projects like this. They're a good thing to use when you're staining. So I'll wipe off the stick. Get somewhere clean, sort of. Dip it in. Okay, I gotta be careful here. Now I'm gonna start staining. You're gonna do a lot with this small section. Good so far, not bad. Try not to drip. because if I drip, very hard to blend it in. Sort of being very careful with this. I put a lot on here. I put more than I probably should. Just want to make sure I cover everything. It's pretty good. So far, I'm happy with it. Stained, I can't go back to making it what it was unless I re-sand it, which I don't want to do. Around. A little harder than I thought. A lot more tighter, deeper crevices than I thought. Seriously. I'd be careful here, you know. Oh boy. All right, the first one, not bad. Came in okay, you know. See how the rest of it comes out. I'll pause it for now. Okay, and here they are. They're done. Done staining them. I think the last part of what I'm going to do now is, second one came out a little bit better, but the only thing I'm going to do now is take the excess stain off with a dry cloth, so it can dry a lot better instead of being blotchy, you know. Because I'm going to urethane them. Just going to go over it with a really clean rag and just get the excess stain off. That's kind of what you want to do anyways. Clean rag. Go over it the best you can. Didn't expect to do this today, but I had a little bit of time in the afternoon. Got out of work a little bit early today, so I kind of figured, I want to get this done. I want to get these stains so I can try to get these things urethaned as fast as possible so I can get them up there, because I don't really have any chairs up there to sit down. I got one chair up there. It's kind of a junky old chair, but I know what you're thinking. These are junky chairs too. I think once I put the urethane on, they're gonna look pretty good. Yeah, stain. Like I said, I'm just taking the excess stain off of it so they can dry pretty quick. I missed a spot. These are a lot harder to stain than I thought. touch it up. I have the stuff in the bag. Yeah, down here. Okay. Pretty good. A couple of spokes back here didn't get good enough. I don't have the best lighting in the world, so it's not that easy. Okay, I think I've got everything. I think I got it all. Put this in the bag. Let's probably cover this thing before it blues it. Probably a good idea to cover your stain if you're not using it anymore, so it doesn't get all over the place and all over you. Okay. Pretty good. I'm hoping that it'll be dry enough for the next 24 to 48 hours so I can throw a couple of coats of urethane on it. That would be awesome. Today's Wednesday. Depending on what the weather's going to be, I don't know if I'm going to head up to Maine this weekend or not. I may not. I've got oral surgery coming up on a couple of my teeth next Friday. I know I mentioned in another video that I had surgery like a week ago, but it wasn't. It was a consultation to see what they were going to do. Personal on you or anything, but that's kind of had just mentioned it haphazardly. Okay. Sure you don't want to hear my health history. So I'm gonna stick to the subject in hand, and chairs are done. Okay, not bad. Maybe once they dry, once they dry a lot better, and I put a couple of coats of urethane, I think the wood will pop a little bit. They'll look a lot better. It's the color I want. You know, these were actually a pretty nice color before, but I think the person that I bought them off, I think I paid $15 for the pair of them or something off of Marketplace. One of the spokes I repaired. It had a piece of tape on it, and I was wondering why it had a piece of tape on it. Well, I found out once I took the tape off. They put it on there pretty tight, and I found out it was cracked. So I kind of took it apart the best I could and put some wood glue, sanded it down, put a little bit of wood putty in there, and kind of feathered it in. Really nice. You can't even tell. So that came out pretty well. So there, they match the table. They do match the table. They were pretty, I wasn't going to touch them. They were a pretty good stain before, but they had, I don't know, it looks like someone bought them and just put a quick coat of stain on them and put a ton of furniture polish on them to make them look half decent. But I sanded them down the best I could. Sanded them down pretty well. Got the stain on there now. And next step will be is to urethane them. So when that comes around, I'll show you what they look like urethaned. But let me bring it a little bit closer to show you. That's basically what you see there. All right. I'll be back in another day or so to show you what the finished product looks like urethaned. Morning, everybody. July 18th, 2021. Coming to you from my home in Massachusetts. I think the last video I made, which is a continuation of the chairs that I'm refinishing. Basically spending the weekend here with some spare time. A lot of rain that we're having over the weekend. I decided to stay home this weekend from Maine. I didn't go up there this weekend, and gonna refinish the chairs that I got down here, or at least try to finish them. The last video I made, I was sanding the chairs. Since then I had stained them, and I had put a couple of coats of urethane on the bottoms of the legs and the spindles, and I had about 3 coats on there, and I didn't record that, but I have 3 coats on there, and I just recently took some steel wool to them, and I'm gonna show you a few more little clips of me putting the steel wool on before I put the final coat on the bottom legs and spindles before I start the other parts of the chairs. I'm doing them in sections just so I don't have to, so I can move it around easily and urethane it without worrying about touching anything sticky. So I'll show you a few parts that I'll be doing, and then I'll cut back. Okay, I'm taking the 000 steel wool, and I'm gonna basically finish. As you can see, they're kind of dull, which you want when you use the steel wool. You're basically hardening and smoothing the surface ready for a final coat with the urethane. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the bottoms. I'm almost done with them. I'm going to put last coat on there. And of course, before I do that, I'm going to clean up the area nice and well with the table, get all the steel wool leftover dust, and I'm going to be cleaning it with the tack cloth. Do yourself a favor, don't use a rag. If you got to refinish a chair, don't use a rag or a cloth or a damp cloth. Get one of these tack cloths. You can get them at any hardware store. Very good. And what you basically want, if you're urethane, if you got a base coat on, about 2 to 3 coats, what you want to do is use the steel wool and give it a quick. Now in the meantime, I got 2 coats on here. I'm going to put one more final coat on here, and I'm going to put another 2 coats on the other chair, between the front, back, and the back spindles. And once that is done, and once it's urethane, and once I have it steel wool, I'll put the final coat on that. So I'm kind of doing it in sections. And the bottom of the chair and the sides I will be doing last. So hopefully I'll get most of it done during the day today in sections, waiting for it to dry. This stuff dries pretty quick, this water-based urethane. So my plans today is to get the final coat on the bottom legs and the spindles, get a final coat on this chair, and get 2 more coats onto the other chair, and probably steel wool it, and hopefully get the bottoms and the top back of the chairs done, and then maybe start on the base of the chair and on the sides. So without further ado, I'm going to show you a few sections of me just steel wooling, and then I'll show you the final coat on these. I know they look dull. For those of you that never really done this before, don't be afraid of using steel wool after a couple of coats of the urethane, because the final product will come out really well. I promise you that. You know, you put your time in a project. You know, people say, oh yeah, they're only chairs, but you put time into it, time and effort, you're going to find out it can be very rewarding that you did this yourself, and every time you sit in the chair or every time you see it, you don't want to, basically saying this, if you start a project, you don't want to hurry it. You want it to come out as best as possible. It's what you want. So I mean, I'm almost done with these. I just have to touch up a few because I had to go out early and buy some more steel wool. Gone through quite a bit of it just doing these. I really had. I didn't think I'd go through that much of it. But I'm taking my time. I'm wanting to come out correctly, and I think it's going to come out really well because it feels really smooth. And I think once I get that final coat on, it'll really bring the grain out in the wood. Really, really pop. At least I'm hoping it will. I'm almost confident that it will. Okay, I'm going to cut the video and then I'm going to get back to I'll get back when I start urethane. Okay, now getting everything off of it with the tack cloth. It's ready to put the final urethane on the bottoms. I got them really nice and clean. I cleaned the area nicely, cleaned it with a rag, cleaned all the dust off it, so I basically have a relatively dust-free area to work in now, so I don't have to worry about things kicking up or anything like that. The tack cloth worked beautifully on this. I did the whole chair, both of them. I took my time. Probably took me about 15 minutes or so to do them really well. I got all the excess dust off of them. So I'm going to put the final coat on now, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I got one of the chairs done. I'm working on the second chair on the top section. I've already gotten the bottom done. Took me quite a while. Had a lot of excess urethane on there that I really had to spread around. I don't want any clumping up because you want to take your time when you're doing this. The thing with this is if you put it on with a brush or a foam brush, you want to make sure to get it really even and thin. You don't want to hurry through it. This is something you do not want to hurry through. Take your time. I promise you it'll come out really, really nice. I'm really happy with the first chair that came out, and I'll show it to you. Came out really well. The bottom part is done. I got the third coat up on the top. I'll be steel wooling that when it dries and putting the final coat on that. But this is done. I finished the bottom of this, and now I'm just getting both sides of the spindles and the backrest and on the sides. And I'll put one more coat on there before I let it dry, and then I'll steel wool that. And then 2 sections will be done. Let me get that back on there like that. Okay. There we go. Yeah, so it's getting there. They're getting there, and they're coming out pretty good. I mean, I think I put a little bit too much on the bottom. I really had to spread it out. It took me quite a while to do it, but you don't want to have any extra urethane and cracks and stuff, because when it dries, it'll have that. It won't look right. It'll have like a blotchy type of whiteness to it, and it won't look good. So you really kind of take your time. This took a while to do. This didn't take no 5 minutes. It seemed like the bottom part is the most hardest part to do. I'm trying to get the difficult parts done first, so when I get to the sides and then the flat chair part, it'll be a lot easier to do. So like I said, I'm doing it in sections. So it's getting there. So I'll come back to you when I'm done with both sides, and then I'll start the bottom of the chairs. That should be in a little while, maybe sometime this afternoon. And before I come back this afternoon to show you a second part of this, I'll just show you what I'm doing here. Just a small clip of me urethaning, not too long. I really don't want to bore you guys to death. Sure you want to see other things that are more exciting or a little bit more interesting, but this is just some of the way that I've been urethaning. Really taking my time. Just want to show you what I'm basically doing here in a short segment of how I'm putting this stuff on. You can use any brush you want. Make sure it's a decent brush. I prefer a foam brush. just my preference. Find it works out a lot better. I have more control over it. That's probably why I like using it. I can spread it a lot evener, a lot better. But these spindles are not that easy to do because you want to make sure you got enough on there, but not too much. You know, trying to be very careful putting these things on the small sections. You can get a little tricky, you know. Okay, I'm going to come back in a little while. Just thought I'd show you a little bit what I'm doing here with the urethane and how I'm doing it. So I'll be back in a bit. Okay, I got the final coat on both chairs on the back. I may put one more on the other chair before I steel wool it. This one I put an extra coat on there. I don't know why, but I did. I have a tendency to put a lot more than I should. This final section down here on both chairs came out incredible. Look like glass. I'm going to see if I can bring the camera up to show you. I'm very happy with the way it came out. Just to let you see real quick. Took my time. See. Okay. Clean off the brush a little bit. I dropped the damn thing, you idiot. Okay, I had a little drip mark there. It's fine. Okay. Like I said, you really want to take your time doing this. I think I got it pretty well. I'm very, very happy the result so far of the entire chair coming out. I really am. Like I said, I'm gonna come back this afternoon, I think, after I take a lunch. Maybe work out a little bit. Probably will. Probably go on the bike for a little bit. Steel wool it. Give them final coat, and then I think later on, late this afternoon, I'm gonna start on the bottoms. Like I said, I really want to get these things up in Maine the next week or so. It's actually gonna be a while before I get up there. You know, I may not be able to get up there till after next week, so it'll probably be sometime in August. July's winding down really quick, and I have quite a few things to do in the next week or so between work and having the oral surgery done and getting these things done. But I don't want to really bore you with that stuff. But I'll be back in a little while. Like I said, I'm very, very happy the way these things came out. The wood grain is really popping on these things with the urethane. It looks awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty happy where these chairs are coming out. They're coming out a lot. I am so happy that I decided to sand them down and stain them and urethane them. I was gonna almost keep them all sanded down with the real barnyard rustic look, but I'm kind of glad I'm doing it this way. So I will be back in a bit. Okay, I'm back. I'm going to start the final urethaning on the seat and on the sides here. The whole thing's urethaned. The bottom part is actually done. I basically have to do now to finish this thing is give it a quick steel wool, a little bit of steel wool. That might be debatable. I may or may not do it. It looks pretty good the way it is. But I'm going to do both chairs, the seat and the sides, and then they will be complete. And if I decide to steel wool it and give it one final coat, I'll do that. But other than that, I'm on the third stage of finishing the chairs before they go up to the camp. So, I will do it now. Alright, I've started. I'm using a little bit of bigger foam brush. just slightly bigger. I'll use the smaller one for the back, the small crevices. As I thought, it definitely sucking up the urethane, the big pot. So I'll put it on, see what happens. Hopefully it'll come out like the others, the other pots. Most likely I will probably finish this whole thing off with that other urethane I have. It's like a poly shield. Gives it a really nice shine. It's really watery, goes on really thin. I gotta be really careful putting it on. And when it dries, it gives it an incredible shine. It's really nice. I like it. You're gonna be careful using it. So this is actually coming out pretty good so far, the top part. Let you know if you can see it. See? It's partially done. Almost. Be careful here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the rest of the seat and then I'll get back to you. Okay, I'm pretty much done. The first coat on the seat part and on the back and on the sides. I got the first coat on. It went on pretty smooth. You know, as I thought, as I predicted, it sucked up a lot of urethane in a big way, and it really did. But it went on pretty well. I'm pretty happy the way it went on. It went on just like it did with the other pots. And put a few more coats on. It's a little after 5 p.m. here on a Sunday. And I've been working on this throughout the entire day, coming up and down the basement and doing parts of this throughout the day. Like I said, my goal is this week is to finish these things and actually take them up to the camp. Not next week, but the week after. I don't think I'll be in any condition next week to go up there. I've got some commitments anyways to do down here. But I'm very happy the way most of this chair has come out. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to steel wool this pot. I may or may not. I gotta decide it. It may not need it. But if I do, I'll give it a real quick steel wool. Not like I did on the bottom. I think I overdid it on the bottom once. I really gave it a good wiping down with the steel wool. And I'm finding out that I missed a few spots. And I keep going back to them, and I think I got them all now. But I think I did too good of a job. But that bottom part is done. It looks awesome. I'm really happy. Pretty happy the way it came out. But I'll probably be down here in about an hour or so, maybe a little longer. I'll put a second coat on, and maybe tonight before I go to bed, I'll put a third coat on. Always touching up something. Always see something here. Just trying to be very careful to do this. I wanted to come out right, you know, and I'm so glad I did this. I'll actually have a place to sit down at the kitchen table at my camp. I used an old chair last week. I officially had my first meal there last week. It was lunch. It was basically a salad. But I sat down on the table anyway. It was my first meal at the camp. But once these chairs are in place, I think I'll be very happy. All right, I'll be back once again, probably for the second and third final coat. Then I'll end this little video. See you then. Okay, I put the final coat. I've got about 3 coats on the seat and on the sides of the chair. I also gave the back end and the spindles one last coat. So as you can see here, I haven't steel wooled it yet, but this is the final coat for the night. It's a little after 9 o'clock. I've been working on this all day, throughout the day, coming down here every couple hours and giving them a coat. And I think I'm finally done with the seats. And I'll probably tomorrow sometime give it a quick steel wooling, really light buffing with it. And I'll probably put a poly shield on it to really make them shine. So they shine pretty good right now, but I think that's going to be it for the night. I'm going to let them sit overnight, take a look at them in the morning before I leave the work, and probably in the afternoon come back and probably put the poly shield on them along with the light buffing of the steel wool, just to take the roughness off it a little bit, and that will be done. These should be completely done by tomorrow, and I'll give you the final results, how they look. As they look right now, they look dynamite. They really do. They look great. I'm so happy the way they came out. They came out really good. This one I just finished, still a little wet. They're all a little wet. So that'll do it for the night. I'll check in tomorrow. Everyone have a good night. And thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. The final stage. I put a final steel wool onto the seats. Really light. I put one final coat on this morning with the urethane, and I just finished putting on the polyacrylic. That is the last step I've used on here. These chairs are complete and they're done. And this is kind of what they look like. This is the finished product. I just finished them. They're still wet, but this is what they're going to look like when they're dry. Get a little look here. They are completed. They are done. They are ready to go up to the cabin after next week, I think. I'm going up there. I'll shoot another video. But these are going up with me. Hopefully I'll bring a refrigerator up there with me. We'll see. But a little... Here they are. They're complete. So basically took me all weekend off and on between the coats drying on the chairs, steel wooling them in between, and doing a little touch up here and there, but they are completely done. 100% they're ready. The only thing I have to do before I transfer them up there is I'm going to put a couple on the legs. I'm going to put some felt tips on there. I'm going to glue them on. They already come with some pre-sticky stuff on the bottom. It's just so I don't mark up the floor, but I usually put a little bit of wood glue on the feet, and then I glue them on. They'll stay on there. So just so I can protect the floor up in the cabin, the wood floor. But here they are. They are complete. I am very happy the way they came out. I knew the seats would come out a little bit darker with the stain. And I know the spindles and the sides and the legs have come out just a tad lighter, but I'm totally fine with that. This is exactly what I wanted. These chairs came out better than I could possibly imagine. It's only because I put quite a bit of time into them. You know, I originally were going to bring them up the way they were when I bought them, but I stripped them down. They actually look pretty cool looking with that barnyard look. Really rustic, but I decided to stain them and urethane them, and I'm kind of glad I did. Either way, I think they would have been fine, even if I didn't touch them with the stain and the urethane, if I left them the way they were. But I don't think I'm going to do anything else to them. That's it. The only other thing I'm going to do is put the felt tips on the bottom of the legs. But here it is. Finally, they're completed. I wish to thank everyone who's watching this now, whoever wants to watch it. And it's just a part of my series on my property in the camp / cabin that I have on the property, that I'm making several videos, just the progress and projects that I'm doing up there. And this is one of them. You know, it's a home project, but these will be going up there, and I'm sure you'll be seeing them on future videos. So everybody, take care. I'll see you up at the camp.